Well, it takes all of you. People make any event a success. Today we found out how true that is as the Centennial Torch arrived in Sioux Falls. With a wave of the wand, the band played. However, not without the help of an inspiring young conductor. Today was a day for everyone to take part in the Centennial celebration. While those on the ground chowed down, those in the sky were hard at work. And then there were those who couldn't wait to get their feet back on the ground. Several hundred people found plenty to do outside the Sioux Falls Arena, all of them waiting for the opening ceremonies of the Centennial Games to begin. This man marked that beginning. Mark Mortenson completed his 450-mile wheelchair journey across the state, carrying the symbol of the Games, the Olympic torch.
I'd just like to thank everybody for being out here. This is, this is great. This is what the Centennial's about. And, it's kind of neat. I'm enjoying it.
As was his family. His proud aunt from Nebraska, completely lost for words.
I got tears in my eyes, can't help it.
Mark's mother and father would only say they had no doubt he would make it.
When he puts his mind to do something, he does it.
While Dad boasted, Mark was already looking ahead.
The crew and I talked about Alaska. There's a wheelchair race in Alaska, and you never know. That might happen.
Now, did you know he's talking about going to Alaska?
Yeah, that's what he said. I don't know if he's going or not, but he probably will.
We'll certainly be hearing more about Mark and his journeys, but the Games and the Centennial celebration mean a lot more to our community. Organizers say for the first time in a long time, people of all ages are able to participate in one event in Sioux Falls, the Centennial celebration. Organizers say cherish the moments because it's hard to say when something like this will happen again.
It'll be many years coming. I've talked with many people, and they said last summer, we were searching all the time for something to do, something to spend our time on. This summer, there's just almost too much. I mean, every day, every weekend, there's something to do. There's a celebration. And I've had a lot of people say, gee, what are we going to do in 80, or what are we going to do in 90? And so we're real pleased with enthusiasm.
However, organizers are hoping to see more events like this in Sioux Falls soon.
Well, the Centennial Games are getting underway. Residents and some of them say they're going to do it. In fact, I talked to some of them after Mark went through the finish line. I said, when you're an old man like Mark, you think you're going to do this? And one little voice said, sure.
I think it's good and neat because nobody's ever done that. I've never seen anybody done that.
Beginning on June 4th, Mortenson left from the Black Hills on what would turn out to be a 13-day adventure.
What was the toughest part of the journey?
Keystone. Coming out of Keystone, about 3 miles up some windy, rolly hills.
Mortenson's return to Sioux Falls also marks the beginning of the Centennial Games in South Dakota. An athlete himself, Mortenson says being in a wheelchair hasn't stopped him from fulfilling his dreams.
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do, and now it's done.
For Mortenson, the skydivers played an important role in today's festivities. Although he's never been able to do it himself, he's always had a fascination with it ever since he was a child. And today, the skydivers presented him with his wings. Denise Anderson, Sioux First News.
What an accomplishment.
It's a terrific accomplishment, and our hats go off to Mark.
And across the finish line, ending a 2-week, 450-mile trek in his specially made wheelchair that began at Mount Rushmore. Mortenson, along with several runners along the way, carried the torch used to officially start the state Centennial Games this weekend in Sioux Falls. Mortenson says he took on the challenge not only to prove to himself and others that he could do it, but also to call attention to South Dakota's birthday.
Well, it's something I've always wanted to do across the state, and with the Centennial, I thought it would be a good time to do it.
Mortenson says he had very few problems along the way, but discovered that South Dakota isn't as flat as some people may think. We'll have a full report on Mark's trip across the state on 30 this Sunday night.
100 years ago, when South Dakota officially became a state, there were a lot of what you might consider heroes. Pioneers who made a bet with the government that they could scratch out a living on a piece of rough prairie for the right to own it. It's hard to imagine people with that kind of determination and patience in today's hurry-up, high-tech society, but every once in a while you run across someone with that old-fashioned pioneer spirit and courage. For the past 2 weeks, just such an individual has been slowly traveling over the highways of South Dakota, in a wheelchair, his way of celebrating the century.
It brings back some memories, you know, being a little kid walking around on crutches and using the elevators and things like that.
Mark Mortenson does see a reflection of himself in many of these young people when he visits his alma mater, the Crippled Children's Hospital and School in Sioux Falls. Born 28 years ago in Pierre with spina bifida, doctors didn't give Mark much of a chance for survival. Most children with that condition do not live long. But he was able to beat the odds and later transferred to public schools, graduating from Washington High in 1979 and from Southwest State in Marshall in 1984. He now manages Project Mobility in Sioux Falls, a city program serving the transportation needs of the mobilely impaired. In spite of his handicap, Mark Mortenson has always been interested in athletics, not just to watch from the sidelines, but to actually take part. He got involved in wheelchair basketball at Southwest State, helping his team to win 2 national titles. But there was another athletic challenge Mark Mortenson wanted to try. As his personal celebration of South Dakota Centennial, Mark, with the help of several runners, would try to carry the torch for the Centennial Games all the way across South Dakota in his specially designed $1,400 racing wheelchair. A journey of 450 miles. It began in the Black Hills 2 weeks ago.
Have you worn out a pair of gloves yet? Just about. You're going to have a few more calluses and muscles for the next 12 days. Just have a thought.
No equipment failures yet, so that's good. The hills are, you know, when you drive them in a car, you get a little bit different impression. They seem steeper, or at least I think so, but they haven't been too bad. Going into here, there's quite a few up and down, you know, short rolling type hills, but the only 2 bad ones have been coming out of Keystone and then Wasta. I tend to like it a little bit warmer. You know, you get loose quicker and you stay loose, you don't tighten up. But the weather hasn't been bad. There's been a lot of people driving by honking their horns, giving the thumbs up, things like that, so.
Something like that. Yeah, all kinds of junk in there. Okay, I need this, so you want to... We can't get that on, Mark. Go down through. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to get that first side. Dude, you did a good job stapling that on.
Not too bad. couple days where we do 42, 44 miles, but overall it averages out to about 35 miles. I knew it wasn't going to be like a race situation where you're going all out, but I think it's gone better than I figured it would. I guess I thought it was, I've always wanted to go across the state, and since it's been a year, I thought it would be a great year to do it. I guess it's kind of a personal thing, a personal challenge to go across the state, but yet, you know, I think it's a neat way to celebrate the century.
Completed his remarkable journey right on schedule. And it was only fitting that students from the Crippled Children's School were given the honor of holding the tape at the finish line. It was, after all, partly for them that he made the trip. To demonstrate that being confined to a wheelchair isn't the end of the world. I believe, Mark says, you can't let the opinions of others limit or define you. If you do, life is too painful.
Some of them learning how to drive would be a milestone in their lives. Learning skills of living would be a milestone in their lives. If they get inspired to do something to fulfill some of their goals in life, yeah, that's great.
Because I would like to do it someday.